All right, coming at you live for one more time in 2025. We've got Luke, we've got myself, we've got Peter for one last episode of the New York Power Hour, perhaps the holiday edition. We're happy to have you here. Gentlemen, how are you doing on this fine evening?
I'm doing. Oh, do you guys hear that? Do you guys? Whoa! Oh, jeez! Oh, wow! That was what? What is this? What's this? It's a box. It's a present. It's Luke Weaver, and there's a letter too. Oh, let's see what the letter says. Dear Peter, since you have been such a good boy this year, and I know how upset you are that the polar bear will not be in Queens this season, I decided to bring you an early Christmas present. As an avid listener of this podcast, I remember you said what you said about which Yankee you would want on the Mets. Love, Santa. P.S. Unless David Stearns pulls off the Mason Miller trade, he is getting coal in his stocking. So wow, thanks Santa. We got a early Christmas present here for Mets fans and Luke Weaver. Isn't that exciting?
I don't think I would have expected Santa to be A, real, or B, a listener of the BDS podcast, but I suppose that gives the Christmas spirit that you've got running over there a very special meaning, doesn't it, Peter?
First of all, Ram, Santa is real, and he's always watching. So
Luke knows him.
Yeah, I'm a believer of the whole the Santa Claus song, but it cuts out after "You Better Watch Out." So like the version that just goes, "You better watch out, you better watch out, you better watch out, you better." I'm
and
like,
she's
that's the version I know.
and
So
she's
like I can
calling a
believe in
cab.
that version of
Yeah,
Santa,
and she's calling a cab. Gotcha.
and she's calling a cab.
Yeah, I gotcha. Um, no, that's
But
a good present, Peter. I'm assuming you're excited about the Luke Weaver news.
Oh, of course. I mean, we listen. This is, as everybody knows, a Luke Weaver podcast. So of course I'm excited that Luke Weaver is signing with the Mets. Uh,
So
I mean, let's get right into it then, because there's a couple things we need to knock out tonight. I mean, in
thank you.
terms of what's going on right before we get cutesy and stuff for the holidays. But let's be real about it. So the fact that we've got some people turning in, by the way. I just want to make sure everyone knows. So Luke Weaver's the big signing of the day right now, and he's now a Met, right? 222, 11 million a year, relatively affordable contract. Surprising, the news came out, of course, that much like the Mets and Pete Alonso, that the Yankees did not offer a deal to Luke Weaver. Now, we've talked for a while about the fact that all intents and purposes, the Yankees just didn't like Luke Weaver. Any opportunity that he was afforded was generally branded with them trying to take a backup plan A or B, and it felt like they were never too comfortable with him. And regardless of whether or not that was the right decision, it seems like that or those feelings were affirmed by the way that they treated this. It never seemed like they were too interested in like pursuing him right now. And the market may not have been super hot for him because if we're being real about the fact that A, that was a very affordable contract for Luke Weaver, and B, we have confirmation the Yankees didn't reach out to him, give him a contract. It felt like he was exactly the type of guy David Stearns was trying to get. It's like the girl at the bar who you felt was underappreciated at the end of the night, and you were like, you know what, maybe if I shoot my shot now, I'll be able to make a move, and it'll look better than the other guys. So I think that's what happened here. But no, all jokes aside, I mean, I was talking about this with Peter earlier. The Mets pen is slowly shaping up. I mean, it doesn't have the splash and the pizzazz of a Mason Miller, which may or may not happen over the next couple weeks and is arguably necessary. But the other news out of it that I was mentioning to Peter is that Albert Adzale, his former Cubs closer, was signed to the Mets for a couple of years. He's been rehabbing in the Venezuelan league, and he's looked kind of sharp. It does seem like, from internal purposes, that the Mets are pretty confident that he'll be part of the pen next year. And we know that Dylan Ross, a guy in AAA who was throwing into triple digits regularly, is the guy they think will be part of the pen. It might be the rough news, but this might be the last bullpen move that we get unless we see that Mason Miller deal. And there's not that many choices out there for bullpen people if you look at the remainder of the market.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, the way I look at the Luke Weaver signing is it's like a replacement for Reed Garrett, who got surgery and isn't going to pitch this year. Um, so, especially looking at it under that circumstances, I think it's an absolute home run. Hopefully, he doesn't give up a lot of those. Um, but yeah, so sorry, that was very random.
It's okay. But
You better
no,
watch out.
so running with, I mean, look, all humor aside on the Luke Weaver thing, I mean, the Mets need to bolster the bullpen somehow, and Luke Weaver's not a bad pickup at all. Legitimate opinion, Luke. I mean, how do you feel? This is a guy that, although he had some rough runs at the end of the season, right? I assume it's a guy you wanted back in the pen.
No, I just have one thing to say to the New York Mets. Love your Luke Weaver. Just love your Luke Weaver. Treat him with the respect that he deserves because the New York Yankees did not. Absolutely did not. This man should have been closing a lot more games for the New York Yankees, and yet they still wanted to turn to Devin Williams when he was absolute doo-doo sauce. Right? Like, I don't know what else this guy had to do to prove that he was the closer, and they just refused to go to him. No contract offer doesn't surprise me. There is such a high amount of disrespect for Luke Weaver, and I hope Queens and the New York Mets gives much love to Luke Weaver.
Legend.
I I do like I feel like we need to address the elephant in the room, and I know it's joked about, but I mean seriously, what is the deal with Steve Cohen just signing ex New York Yankees? Like it's a thing. Like we can't dismiss this anymore, right? Like it's Devin Williams, it's Luke Weaver, it's Adam Ottavino, it's Dylan Betances, it's Juan Soto, it
Number
it's
one, you're naming a lot of guys from the past generation. I will say number one. Number two, Juan Soto is in a tier of his own.
That's
If
why he
we're-
was
if we're
listed.
being
That's
fair.
why he was listed last. That is.
Num-
I didn't
number-
start with. Well, Juan Soto, like he's the
Number
big
three,
name.
You guys have signed two players so far this offseason. One of them is a former New York Mets #1 draft pick. So like maybe we just chill a little bit. Just a little bit. Because like
No,
you guys do the
No,
same thing.
Peter. I'm sorry. Taking a former #1 draft pick of the New York Mets is different than taking the 8th and ninth inning guy who pitched for the New York Yankees last season.
I mean,
It's different.
Yeah, but okay. But
It's different than taking the former 8th inning guy of the New York Yankees. It's different than taking the other former 8th inning guy of the New York Yankees, right? Like
wait, Ottavino wasn't your guy's 8th inning guy? Jesus, I'm so sorry.
he was maybe 7th inning. I don't know. But
Listen, I think a lot of these guys just really love living in New York, but hated playing for the Yankees. So what's the easiest thing to do? Just go to Queens.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always what made a lot of sense. You kind of want to get them through that New York moment of like you shit the bed, and so they realized like after a couple of years ago when that happened to Edwin Diaz, the strategic move is to let him go to the Yankees and then just come over here and have a lot of fun. So I'm okay with it. I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, we know Devin Williams is going to have a really good year with the Mets and Luke Weaver. They got their New York jitters out. Luke Weaver's now on it's going to be a 6th team too, which is kind of funny. Most of them he started for. But I was looking at it beforehand and I was getting a laugh out of it because I realized that I've talked about Luke Weaver as a Yankee as if he's like a Yankee draft pick because we like the guy. We've talked about him for years. He was a Cardinals draft pick. He was drafted as a starting pitcher. He's a former first-round pick.
Yep.
So now he's full-time reliever. So I do think it is some kind of weird Stockholm syndrome that, you know, he got overshadowed for Devin Williams' closer situation, the Yankees last year, and the Mets signing Devin Williams and him looking to be the closer right now, he turns around and says, don't worry, I'll set up for Devin Williams again. Like it's kind of like, is this like weird sense of duty or like kind of thing where he's like, no, I must be the guy behind Devin Williams. Wherever Devin Williams goes, I will follow. I don't really know how that one turned out the way it is, and I hope that psychologically he's okay. But I am glad that he's with us and he's making the moves over to our neck of New York. I think it's a good thing. I mean, we didn't really have much going on in terms of the bullpen. I said before, I was looking at the remaining guys on the market, and I don't really like the names, if I'm being sincere. So I think really outside of the Mason Miller trade, which, again, is very much no way a guarantee. In fact, we don't even know if it's likely, right? The level of players that would be involved to make that move. It's going to be interesting to see if this is the way Penn looks. I mean, they like Minter and they like Rayleigh, so they got some lefties, they got some youth in Ross, and they're going to figure some other things out. But again, you know, I want to temper people's expectations. This might be what we're getting in terms of the pen. And if you get Mason Miller, then you're definitely done. But again, that's a huge if. That's a big if, and it would be a gigantic acquisition. Would I love that? Yes, because considering the Phillies just signed Keller, and they've got a pretty strong situation going on there. At the end of the day, I mean, you're going to have to compete. The Braves have a really strong bullpen, have made multiple additions in terms of what Robert Suarez and who else did they add the other day? It's slipping my mind right now because of my memory, but they picked up somebody else.
Well, they re-signed. That was early in
No,
the.
they had Iglesias, they
Yeah.
had Robert Suarez, and they signed somebody else that whose name is slipping me right
They
now.
have they re-signed Hassan Kim, and they brought in Mike Yastrzemski as well.
There's another arm they signed. I'm gonna have to figure this one out, but
Okay.
but
Well,
I
while
do
you're
remember the Hassan Kim thing came in. I did think that was a good move for them for what it's worth, by the way, because it's a 1 year deal for them. It's not a bad idea for them. They needed someone to play shortstop, right?
yeah, Nick Allen wasn't cutting the sauce for them, but I mean, as far as the Mets bullpen goes, obviously any Mets fan would want them to add Mason Miller. He is probably the most exciting young closer in baseball, and you have 4 years of control on him. So obviously you would want that. But as of right now, I feel like the Mets bullpen is better than it was last year. Obviously, um, I'm not going to pretend like losing Edwin Diaz, the best closer in my opinion in baseball, isn't going to hurt. But you brought in Devin Williams, who besides last year has always been great. Like I said, Luke Weaver kind of replaces Reed Garrett, and I think everyone would agree that Luke Weaver is a better pitcher than Reed Garrett. Uh, Minter was great until he got hurt. Rayleigh was one of the only bright spots of the Mets bullpen last year. You have Asley, who's the closer of the Cubs, and people are saying looks really good. Dylan Ross, anybody that can throw over 100, I'm pretty stoked about. And by all reports, it's looking like Brandon Spirot is going to at least start the season as the Mets longman, which last year, if you remember, and it's funny that Luke brought up uh, former Met and Yankees, Paul Blackburn was our swingman. So, that is an improvement already.
Yeah, I get the feeling that the rotation's not set in stone yet, and we're gonna see. I mean, I've had a lot of conversations with people in the offseason about what they think the Mets should be doing, and there's still a lot of names out there. I mean, look, we're approaching Christmas, and the offseason still got a good month plus, and I mean that because the biggest names in the offseason, you look at Kyle Tucker. Not saying the Mets will get him, but I mean Kyle Tucker, Cody Bellinger, Tatsuya Mai, and a few other guys from overseas, including Murakami and Okamoto, haven't signed yet. And I believe the Murakami deadline is about 5 or 6 days. So these things are going to start falling into place soon. I do think a lot of them are contingent on one another. Like, I think Okamoto and Murakami are intertwined, whereas if one signs with one, the other will have leverage. And I think Murakami's posting date might be the 22nd. So these things are going to start going in motion, I think, sooner rather than later. And when we come back from our little holiday break, there's going to be a lot for us to talk about, I'm sure. On the flip side, I mean, the Yankees haven't reported too much interest outside of the names we've talked about over and over right now. There's still holes for them to fix. I just feels weird that a lot of the free agent market has kind of been at a standstill. Like, I want to sit there and like make fun of the Yankees, but it does feel like everyone's waiting on one another. I don't know if it's because they're afraid of the lockout. I don't know if there's a particular reason that there's a pause going on, if they're waiting for Kyle Tucker and the big fish to sign so they can use that. I mean, granted, Alonso, Schwarber, big signings, those guys are already taken care of. So it's not like nobody's signed, right? But none of the three big international free agents have signed yet. And, we'll see. It's a slow-moving market over there in MLB, but the less I'd like it to be done quicker rather than the longer time, because the less I have to hear Scott Boras and his really stupid analogies when talking about players, the better, because God help me. But we're going to see. The Luke Weaver thing came out of nowhere. One thing I will say about it is that we've talked about, I think I mentioned this to Peter off air, that the San Diego trade rumors came from out of San Diego. They did not come from the Mets camp. And the Mets camp have done a really good job over the recent weeks and years of relatively quiet maneuvers in terms of they've kept really quiet about the things that the Mets are actually doing or who they're showing interest in. And I say that because the two signings that they have made in the last weeks, which is Polanco and Weaver, we didn't hear heads or tails of them pursuing either of those players until the contracts were done. So the Mets camp has been a lot better at keeping quiet about these things. Now, I feel like something with Bellinger was just one of the worst kept secrets because they very much need him, or else it makes their offseason much closer to a failure than not. However, we're moving. It does seem like there's a lot more interest in bringing in new faces. And we'll see what that means in terms of they're bringing in supposed clubhouse guys. You know, Simeon is considered a clubhouse guy. Polanco's considered a clubhouse guy. Maybe they should just bring in Grimace. I don't know. I really don't know as to what they're worried about here, but we'll see. But that being it, I mean, it's solid signing for the Mets. I'll take it. I like Luke Weaver. He has some closing experience. Really, really, of the moves, of the guys that were remaining, probably the one that I would have wanted them to get. And as for the rest of it, I mean, I think, like I said, in about a week or so, by the time that we're back on this, that we're back on the pod and sitting there talking, there's going to be a lot more to discuss and a lot more to break down about where these teams are going. Luke, if you get one move out of the Yankees in the next, 2 weeks, right? And I know, an easy one might be Kyle Tucker just because it's such a big name, right? But I know you haven't exactly fawned over it before. What's the name that you think, if you're like, okay, we're back here in 2 weeks, and we're like, all right, I feel good about the Yankees, they acquired blank. What name would that be for you on behalf of the Yankees?
I'd say probably the best name on the market for the Yankees right now would be MI. I know there's a lot of discussion about Cody Bellinger. Cashman has said that getting Bellinger back is a priority for the team. I don't see that as a priority for the team. It just seems like you're going to get stuck with an aging player on a long-term contract. Maybe you get a couple good seasons out of him, and he tapers off at the end, and you're stuck having to DFA a player and eat all the costs at the end of the contract. I think Amai is good. There's a ton of upside. There's definitely a desire to be on the East Coast, which is a lot different than the Japanese players who have come over in the most recent years. And I know I've said this before, but the Yankees rotation definitely needs some help to start the season. It looks like Carlos Rodon won't be back for opening day. We knew Garrett Cole wasn't going to be back for opening day. So it does fill a spot. It gives you a little bit more flexibility. Maybe move some of those guys from the starting rotation last year into the bullpen and kind of create a swingman in the rotation as well. And still, I mean, the big signing right now is Ryan Yarbrough. I'm not glamoring over it, but it is a good move by the Yankees, again, to give you that flexibility between bullpen and a spot starter. So I think Amai is the best right now. I'm not clamoring over anyone right now who's still out in the market.
Yeah, I think the Amai answer is actually a really great one. If I'm being honest with you, first off, 27 with upside. It's not often you get to get these guys during this age, so it's a big deal, especially one that isn't automatically giving over to the Dodgers Japanese dynasty. Apparently, one of my favorite transplant pitchers of all time pitched for the Yankees in Masahiro Tanaka. Really stand-up guy, gentleman, outstanding pitcher. So, I'm not above cheering for a guy on the Yankees in that regard. I'm saying that honestly because I've got Tanaka. I love the guy, and I thought he was really a lot of fun. And the fact that he basically was like, look, it's overseas at the Yankees for me. The Yankees are treating me well. And if I'm not signing with them, I'm going back home. I have to say, as much as I will joke about hating the Yankees, and I'll never stop doing that, I respect a man with conviction. Right, I respect the fact, and Amai has that same conviction in his early reports saying that I don't want to go to the Dodgers, I want to beat the Dodgers, and I like that. So if he wants an East Coast team, he wants to come to a place like that. As much as I hate to admit it, the Yankees would be an outstanding market for him. So we will see what happens to Amai, but I do think that's a good answer. As much as I'd love to turn around and make fun of you, I think that's a really good answer, Luke.
Yeah, I'm looking at the available free agents for relief pitcher because I think the Yankees definitely need to bolster the bullpen. Names like Pete Fairbanks, Evan Phillips, who was the closer for the Dodgers, obviously lost that spot. Sir Anthony Dominguez has been solid over the last few years. Let's see, Michael Kopech, who I guess the Dodgers didn't want back. So there's definitely still some names available in the bullpen that I would like the Yankees to go after and get. But you still have Duvall and Bednar pitching your eighth and ninth, which I feel very confident about at this point. You also have Jake Bird too, who looked good last year when he wasn't a Yankee. So I don't know, maybe he figured it out in the minors, maybe not, but that's another option for the Yankees too.
I think Fairbanks is a good name as well. He was one of the guys that I was kind of hoping the Mets quietly might be going after. And if they don't acquire Mason Miller, he's definitely a guy that if they said, "Oh, we've got Fairbanks for like 336 or something," I'd be really excited because that's definitely a guy that's well more than serviceable and has closing experience. So, I mean, understandably a name that I completely get, and I do think that I think almost guaranteed that you're going to see the Yankees make another move for the pen soon. As for the starters, it really depends. I mean, they might be waiting for the market to develop on Amai too, because getting Yarborough, as you mentioned, is a good versatility move. But right now, he's penciled in as your fifth starter, and you'd rather him kind of be the spot starter, long relief guy. So we'll see what happens. I do think they're going to look to acquire some pitching, and we're going to see what happens from there. Peter, I'll throw the same question as you, although like we've got a lot of stuff going on, right? We got 2 weeks or so until we're going to jump on the pod again. Give me the name that says, all right, the Mets have turned this offseason around. I no longer want the head of David Stearns on my Christmas platter. What's the one guy that does that for you that you're like, all right, I could breathe a little bit now?
Well, I mean, don't just take my word for it. Take Santa's word for it. Mason Miller. It's definitely, it's going to really solidify that bullpen. It's going to remove a lot of the sting of losing Edwin Diaz. And again, you're getting the combination of, like, at his age and the fact that he has 4 years of team control. Like, you could do so much with that. It really, obviously, it's going to cost a lot to give. You're going to have to give up a lot to get him. But payroll wise, he's not going to be a huge burden on the team. So you can get him and then continue to sign players in free agency.
Yeah, I mean, if I can pull that up, I'm gonna do my best. But he's in pre-arbitration, I think.
Yes,
Mason Miller, right? Which is absolutely insane. I mean, you could have one of the best closers in the entirety of the MLB, and he's still in ARB for I think another 4 years. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, he's in ARB. So 2026, ARB 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So you'd be getting, I mean, this is a guy that if you didn't say Mason Miller, I was going to say Mason Miller because I think if you have the ability to get a locked up, we know that Stearns is allergic to paying high prices for relief pitchers, and whether or not that's the right move is not what I want to debate now. I just know that that's the truth of the matter, right? That he doesn't really want to pay relief pitchers. So what's the solution? Get a closer that's under arbitration for the next 4 years. You don't have to worry about big negotiations. You can pay him based on the market for arbitration. And if you want to move him after that, you move him after that. Fine. I like team loyalty. I know that that's not apparently a big thing right now for the way they're doing it, but nothing better than an affordable closer that is locked down that you can have for 4 years without having to worry. Right alongside the fact that you've already got Williams, Weaver, Minter, Raley, like it does need to legitimize this pen. And I think it's got to be a top priority for the Mets. The fact that they're also provincially involving Pivetta in that deal, I think, is a big deal because Nick Pivetta is not bad. I'm going to just keep it as simple as that. He's not bad. We needed better pitching. We needed more options for pitching because we were throwing out. I mean, look, if we're coming off a year where we don't make the playoffs and we break the MLB record for the amount of guys to throw a pitch for a team in MLB history and also had like the highest payroll in MLB history, something went wrong in the allocation of resources. So you want to have some dependable guys like that. I mean, look, nobody expected Manaea to get hurt. We obviously weren't hoping for what happened to Griffin Canning. Clay Holmes gave about as much as you could have, honestly, all things considered.
Yeah.
Right, and that's actually something I want to turn into real quick. The announcement was that Clay Holmes and Nolan McLean are going to play for Team USA going into the World Baseball Classic. I love the World Baseball Classic, so generally I'm not going to work against this, but I will say of all the names that I didn't necessarily want to see on the squad, it was probably our young guy who's supposed to be our ace and our starting pitcher who was a reliever who got overworked last year and is now considering going to the World Baseball Classic. It does make me laugh a little bit where I'm like, you're probably not the guys I wanted to see representing the Mets on Team USA. And we also have non-flashbacks of the last time we sent a representative to the WBC and they went further. So it's one of those things where it's like, I want to cheer. I mean, I don't cheer for Team USA anyway, I admit to this, but I do think it's kind of one of those things where I wasn't exactly thrilled. I don't know if you're sharing that opinion, Peter, or you're just happy to see more of them.
I mean, McLean, I'm pretty stoked about. He's a young guy. I think it's gonna be cool to kind of showcase him and the Mets pitching development overall. Clay Holmes, considering what happened to him down the stretch last year, I wouldn't have. If he didn't join Team USA, I wouldn't have been upset because he should rest his heart.
Now to finish the thing about before about the name, I would have gone Mason Miller if Peter didn't go Mason Miller. So to give a name that we haven't talked about, and I want to because it's been talked a lot about, is Tariq Skubal. I mean, I don't know how realistic of a thought it is that Tariq Skubal is getting moved at any point, right? And I also know that it's going to be a gargantuan cost to get a reigning, level pitcher of his caliber. That being said, if Tariq Skubal is available and you don't have to give up Nolan McLean, I'm pretty sure you're turning around and you're telling them blank check of prospects, whatever you want, take them. You want Tong, you want Jet, you want these guys, like, take them. We will give them to you because at the end of the day, it's rare to get somebody of that level of talent, and Tariq Skubal is insane. So for me, and I'm not really writing this down as likely. I don't think it's likely. I don't think it's going to happen. But I've heard the rumors. It's been talked about. The Mets get Tariq Skubal. That would be gigantic because you're immediately signing him to an extension off that. I assume the trade doesn't happen without the extension.
He's a Stearns. He's Stearns. He's a Boris guy though.
But that's why I assume. I don't think you make the trade if you're, we don't operate like the Yankees where we get a guy for a year and watch him go over to Queens. We wouldn't trade for a Devin Williams or a Juan Soto and then watch him walk away to Queens. So I assume that they wouldn't make
it's
that
a holiday
deal.
Episode. Let's not. Come on. Let's not rub it in Luke's face.
No, I honestly don't think that they make that
cheer.
deal without knowing that there's an extension involved. Like the way that David Stearns operates, it just doesn't strike me that he would say, oh, yeah, here's all our best prospects for 1 year of Skubal, and we're just going to let him hit the market. I assume they don't make that deal if he doesn't sign an extension. Now, in the favor of what you're saying, the reason that he might not have been moved is that exactly. That people might have put together a package that the Tigers said, yeah, we'll take that deal. And then they said, okay, we want to talk to Tariq about an extension because we want to keep him long-term. And it's like, sorry, Scott says no. We're no extensions, we're hitting the market, then it might be no dice on that deal. That's my guess. I have no sources on this or anything like that. I'm just saying that I think that might be the reason why, because the cost of a Tariq Skubal, getting him for a year, unless you're one of the teams that is either the Dodgers or one step away from the World Series, you probably don't make that deal. Right?
Yeah.
So
now, when I remember the rumor first came out, I was of two minds of it. Number one, maybe you didn't have to give up that much because it was just a 1 year rental, or at least as much as you think you would. And the second thought was, well, yes, he is a Boris guy, and Boris guys go to free agency. We do have a looming lockout, so he might want to get his contract in pre-lockout just to make sure that he can get the most money, because obviously he's going to become the highest paid pitcher in baseball. Like, I feel like we all agree on that.
as he should be. Should be too, right? I mean,
well, yeah, either him, and then when Skeens comes around, Skeens will get
then
more
it should
than
be
him.
right. Agree.
But maybe, and I say this with really knowing nothing, and it's just a pure speculative guess. If Boris is still telling his guys not to sign and to hit free agency before this lockout, then maybe the lockout's not as scary and as concerning as we've been told it will be.
I am nerved about the lockout just because I have no freaking clue what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like we keep hearing playfully people saying that the lockout might cost us the entirety of the 2027 season, and that would suck, right? I mean, because what the hell are we going to podcast about? But like I mean, we're going to talk about football. I mean, the Jets and the Giants. No, but it's. I just don't want to see a situation with that, and I think also the lockout conversation brings out some of the worst in people because there are ridiculous demands from either side. I don't think we're going to see a salary floor or a salary cap go into baseball. I think they kind of like the idea that they don't have to work with those type of things, which is fine. However, I mean, at the end of the day, this discussion could take us out of a whole year and then some because you might see rusty baseball. You might see guys like doing just weird things with their contracts going into the year, a la what you're saying about Scooball. Maybe some of these guys will want to sign beforehand and say, okay, I'm locked up. I got my hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't have to worry about this regardless of the lockout, right? So we'll see how that goes. But, I mean, I don't know. I just think I get this feeling that it's been a little too quiet this offseason, and I sense that things are going to pick up real soon. I don't know if you guys share that thought, but
I mean, they have to at some point, right? Like,
right. That's what I'm like.
Kyle Tucker has to sign at some point, right? And I feel like once Kyle Tucker signs, you're going to see a mountain of moves of the teams who are in on Kyle Tucker couldn't get Kyle Tucker and now have to pivot and try and find someone else, right? Like, it's the last piece. It's the last piece, and once that falls into place, everything else will move.
I also think it's the same thing with the international market because since they have specific dates that they need to sign by, I do think some of these guys are some of these teams rather are contingent on seeing where the market goes for these guys. I mean, I said Okamoto and Murakami are probably related, but Amai might be setting the starters market because they're waiting to see where he goes before they make any big moves. So we will see exactly what happens. I just feel like it's been, I don't know if maybe I'm not obsessively paying attention to MLB trade rumors as much as I used to, but it feels like it's been way too quiet. Like, if a guy like Murakami, who was once considered to be and can't miss bat and a guy with 40 home run potential, right? And his posting date, I think, is December 22nd, which is like 5 days from now. We're not hearing anything. We've heard like, oh yeah, this team looked at him, this team looked at him, but 5 days from now, we have less than a week until a signing like that could be a huge signing, and we're not hearing anything. It feels weird to me. It feels very odd to me, and I'm not used to it. But maybe that's just the way things are because of the lockout. I couldn't say for sure, but that's where we're at least for MLB. I think that covers generally the Mets and the Yankees, unless there's anything I'm missing that you guys wanted to touch on.
What about Jorge Polanco? Like, what do we think about the Jorge Polanco signing?
What do you think about the Jorge Polanco signing? I'll give an answer too, but I
think it's an interesting pivot from not bringing back Pete Alonso. You guys are probably closer to this than I am, but I mean, you bring in Marcus Semien to play second base, right? You already have Lindor locked up at shortstop. Brett Beatty is going to be your third baseman for the next 20 years. Where does Jorge Polanco fit in your infield, right? And he's not a good defender, which is why he has been playing second base. So are you sticking him at first? Is this going to be your Pete Alonso replacement at first base?
Go for it, Peter.
So I think it is like Luke, when me and you had our podcast, or just me and you on, we talked a lot about how a lot of the moves the Mets have been making have seemed to be like, you do this move and then this move, and they all kind of interlock into like kind of making sense, but individually they seem weird. So obviously we have to take this with a grain of salt because, like Ram said, it was leaked by the Padres side. The discussion was Mason Miller, Pavetta, Lariano. So say you make that trade, there's your left fielder right there. Now, Simeon's going to be your second baseman, which means Jeff's probably expendable, especially if you have a left fielder now. We'll pretend that the trade happened. So I do think in the long term of the 2 years, Polanco is going to mainly be your DH. I think what they're going to do is wait till Ryan Clifford's ready and then call him up, and then he's your starting first baseman. That's what I think is going to happen.
I'm on a similar vein, but not on the Clifford part, but in general on the idea that as much as they've said otherwise, and people are speculating, I do think Polanco was signed to be the DH. I think that they started to lose faith in Mark Vientos last year, and they decided that we're not going to go into. It just felt like down the line, especially with now Beatty earned his playing time, but the fact that Mark Vientos saw very little in terms of the field and the way that he was talked about as now a potential trade candidate and not necessarily named as a guy they want to keep. I feel like they've kind of lost a little bit of hope in Vientos at the end of the day, or they at least believe his trade value is so low that they're just going to let him rot for a little bit. But I think that Polanco was brought in to be the DH, and I keep mentioning the international guys because I just have this sneaky feeling that the Mets are big on Okamoto. I think he's a guy that, because his glove is strong, Stearns has been very upfront about sticking to the things he said in terms of run prevention. You know, Marcus Semien is an older guy, but he's an elite defender. And Cody Bellinger is aging, but he's also an elite defender, so the interest there makes sense. I think Okamoto, even though he's a less potent bat than Murakami, the fact that he feels the position really well and does give a little versatility on the corner side, I think that's part of it. I do think that the goal is to get him and like Bellinger, and they've talked about the fact, just kind of slyly, just mentioned the fact that they're going to find a way to get these bats in the lineup. And I think this is not a Jeff McNeil comment, because although he's defensively versatile, I do think they're going to move him, as they seem to have some kind of hellbent desire to move all of the old guard out. I do think these new guys, you know, Polanco doesn't play a great second or third or even first base. He doesn't really play it, but they'll sneak him in where they can once in a while. But I think they DH him, and the idea of Bellinger playing center and first, and the idea of maybe an Okamoto coming in playing first and third and handling the glove really well, they want to be able to put their guys in the lineup every day and just not have to worry about, well, we have to put this guy in this position, so we're limiting our options. And I don't know if that's a great thing or not. It's going to come down to who they acquire and what their personnel is, right? Like, on paper, versatility sounds amazing. But if your versatility is guys like Jeff McNeil or like, people who can play over the diamond but can't actually hit, it's not really helping the way that the Mets are. You know, like, take Zach McKinstry, for example. He's had a few hot streaks, but yes, he can play 7 positions, but necessarily, like, if he's not going to be able to hold up his end of the offensive bargain, this might be something the Mets don't want to go down. So we'll see what happens. I just keep getting this feeling that they're not signing Polanco to play first. They're playing him to play DH. And they're looking to get somebody else for first base, or at least to have a Bellinger who can back up at first base when they need to. And maybe have Vientos take some reps at first base too, because that's probably the best place you can hide him if he's not DHing. That being said, I mean, they got Polanco for 2 years and $40 million, if I remember correctly, right? And so it's about 20 a year. It's the same that the Braves are paying Ha-Sung Kim. And I don't mean that in necessarily a bad or a good way. I'm just saying that I think that Polanco's bat could be a lot more viable than Ha-Sung Kim's. I mean, Ha-Sung Kim can at least play short to a serviceable level, so it's fine. They haven't answered short that way, and Polanco's going to be DHing, but he's a clubhouse guy. When he's on, he hits the ball really well. I think they're signing him with the expectation that he is going to miss some time because he has been made of glass over his years with the Twins and the Mariners. But when he's on, he hits the ball really well. So I'm neutral on it. I said this when we got the Williams deal done, that it feels like it's a part of a bigger plan, and it feels like they have to add on top of it. You know, I guess the plan was Williams and Diaz. They didn't get that to happen. So Williams looks a little worse in comparison, even with Weaver alongside. If the plan is Polanco, Bellinger, and Okamoto, then Polanco looks a lot better than Polanco alone. But if it's Polanco alone right now, I'm hesitant to say, oh yeah, gung-ho, this is amazing, because you're going to need depth. And no matter what, this isn't a guy that has played first base. And he doesn't play second or third particularly well either. So no, I don't have the confidence that he's going to be able to handle first base for 150 games. I don't. So at the end of the day, if he's signed to play DH and we have another answer for first base, I really like the signing. I do think he's a useful bat. He's a switch hitter. He can slot in and be very useful. If he's slotted in to be the primary first baseman and we don't have other options there, yeah, I'd be a little bit worried. Because that feels like you're hopeful, but you're asking way too much for something that has no track record. Granted, Stearns tends to think he's the smartest guy in the room. He is a robot. So maybe the robot's going to have one over on me. If 2 weeks from now we have Okamoto and we have Bellinger, I'm going to say, kudos, robot, you got me. So we'll see what happens from now, but it's got to be part of a bigger plan and not the answer.
Peter, I have a question for you. Do you think David Stearns is using AI to manage the New York Mets?
No, because then he would be pulling off these fantastic, wonderful trades like other people I know that use AI to run their baseball teams.
Yeah, I think it would be really smart of him to use AI to run the New York Mets, but that's just me.
I think it'd be really stupid, but that's just
I bet AI would have told them to re-sign Pete Alonso.
Probably.
AI doesn't have emotion, so I don't think it would have.
But you have to fill those emotions in, right? Like, for example, if you were making a trade with a Mets fan and you had to factor in the fact that they would get really upset trading Mets players, you could have AI calculate that in.
I assume so, but I could also calculate that in because I have a brain and I use it. And something that it doesn't get yet is the charm and the seducing and these type of things that go on in trade moves. Yeah. You would know, Peter.
Are you seduced? Are you seduced by Pete Alonso?
I was for a bit, actually. Yeah, I'm very sad that he's gone. But I hope to God the Mets are not using AI to actually run the team. That would make me very upset. And anyone who does that for real life or for fantasy purposes should be ashamed of themselves, because I think that's the worst possible thing you could do. I mean, I'd rather someone told me they paid the homeless guy on the street to go ahead and make a draft pick for them. I'd respect that. I'd be like, you know what, you're contributing to the community, you're contributing to the world. People out there who are using it for fantasy or real life or anything like that, you're killing water, you're killing trees. It's a horrible decision environmentally. It's a horrible decision track record-wise because it's not going to win you a single thing. And on top of it, I mean, I think it's just flat out embarrassing. I would never be the type of person to think about it, admit it, even like projecting that. It's really just a dark path that I wouldn't want to go down. So I think it's a good question you asked Peter. I know you asked Peter, not me, because I have strong opinions on this. But I just would hope that we're hoping that's not in the near future for the Mets or for any team or even a fantasy squad, for what's that's worth.
Well, I guess a nice transition from a dark place. Somebody won the Saudi Cup.
I was going to go to a dark place to talk about the Jets, but yeah, I mean, we could get that out of the way real quick. The Jets sucked, which is good, right? I mean, we saw, was it Brady Cook take the ball for the Jets? So Cook take the ball for the Jets. Good. No. We got destroyed by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence had the game of his life, seeking heights that he hadn't hit since his college days, and put up 5 touchdowns on the Jets. A very uninspired defensive performance by the Jets. Here's the only thing I will ask you about the Jets, Peter, because of the fact that we know where they are and we know what they are, right? Are you heavily considering firing Aaron Glenn after this season, or do you give him one more year?
No, you definitely got to give him one more year. I feel like now this is possible because the Jets are stupid as hell.
Right.
But if you sign Justin Fields and you don't expect him to be absolute dog water like Ram did, Ram thought it'd be good.
I thought it'd be exciting. I wanted him to command the tank.
Some people think dog shit's exciting, I guess. But basically,
it's better than Brady Cook's 3 interceptions out there.
Brady Cook was a 7th round, but he might have even been undrafted. It was a late round.
I'm assuming he was undrafted.
Yeah,
he got cooked.
And you're paying real life actual money to Justin Fields, but that doesn't matter.
Hey, listen, Brady Cook is also making real life money, so let's not discount that either.
Okay, real life NFL money. Okay, is that a better statement? But listen,
he does play in the NFL.
This is all I have.
At least now he does.
He's an NFL. He can.
He is now an NFL quarterback.
He can go home. He can go home to his mom and tell her that he played in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, he has had better QB ratings in this game than Justin Fields has had in games this year. But let's be honest. And I say this as Jets fan. there's only one more game in the schedule that matters, really. Um, you know, and yes, it would be better if the Jets went 0-3, but I think all Jets fans, they have December 28th circle on their calendar. Uh, at MetLife, the Patriots come to town, and the Patriots, the frauds that they are, who have really only beat up on bad teams, and they finally got an opportunity to play a good team, and they got embarrassed against the Bills.
I love when you say things that we can agree on, Peter.
I
I
hope.
love
I
when you
think
say
every-
things
I
we can
wouldn't.
agree on.
I wouldn't say
Every
they got.
Jets
I
fan that
love when you talk about how much of a fraud Drake May is
Yes.
and how the Patriots have had the benefit of a low schedule because they were such a bad team and they're beating up on bad teams. I love it. I love
So-
when you say things we can agree on.
Obviously, the Jets are. This is the closest I'm going to get to having relevance in the division. The Jets, the last two games, they play the Patriots and they play the Bills. Nothing would make Jets fans happier to beat the Patriots and then get flattened by the Bills. Hand in the Bills division, and then so the Patriots don't win the division because they're frauds.
I see
They're
Chris
frauds.
messaging, by the way, so I know Luke is looking at his computer. I hope you can tell him that we're at the point where we're talking about Drake May being ass. But moving on from Drake May being ass and back to the Jets as an overall, because I agree with you. I hate that they're playing the Saints, by the way, because as a Saints fan and a Jets fan, I want them both to lose somehow. And so I'm really hoping that they find a way to create like the first like double loss scenario where they both benefit in draft position.
It's called
But-
the tie, Ram.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that. Let's see if we can get a 0-0 tie on the board. But Tyler's show has actually looked pretty good. Not like good, but like serviceable, and that's scary because I guess I'm gonna have to take solace in whatever happens. If Tyler's show like stunts on the Jets and the Jets lose, I'm like, all right, cool. The Jets are moving in the right direction towards a better draft pick, right? If they go to a tie, I guess that's also okay because they both kind of suck, right? So this is good. They can suck together, right? Like Drake May. But I do think that at the end of the day, that Patriots game, I mean, look, no matter what, even if it fucks up draft position, I know that every Jets fan and all their suffering would sit there and be like, I hope they blow the Patriots out. I hope they actually destroy the Patriots. God knows it. But we'll see what happens. I, for one, also agree with you, and I saw Luke nodding. You can't fire Aaron Glenn after this year, but what I will say is that he is going to go into next year on thin ice, right? Because there are performances like you could sit there and you can say, all right, some of these teams have some grit, they're doing some fire, they have energetic performances. Defensively, the Jets have made a horrible effort. And although their penalties are a little bit better than they were earlier in the season, overall, this has looked like a very unorganized and undisciplined football team. And at the end of the day, even with bad personnel, that does go to Aaron Glenn, right? So he's going to be on thin ice going into the year. But I think you're right. You can't just bring a guy in with his credentials and with what I assume is his knowledge, considering he was a very successful coordinator, and just jettison him after 1 year. It would be too Jetsian to just get rid of him right off the bat like that. They have to give him a little time with an actually serviceable quarterback, maybe a Fernando Mendoza or something like that, and we'll see what happens in that regard. The Giants, on the other hand, are just kind of getting through the season. I mean, they're eliminated from playoff contention. Jackson Dart is the big topic of conversation because although the Giants took another loss, there's been talk about the fact that maybe they need to tone down their Jackson Dart existence and how he's playing. You know, Luke, you've talked about this before, so I'll throw this one to you. I mean, would you bench Jackson Dart the rest of the year just to keep him safe, or do you want him out there to get the reps?
No shot. No shot. I'm sending him out just to save him. I mean, this is precious time for him, right? There's no expectations. There's no, there's no desire or need from the fan base for him to win. Learn the system, learn how to be an NFL quarterback. This is the time to flourish, and this is the time to learn. I think the Giants have to start Jackson Dart all throughout the rest of the season. Get your dildos ready because Jackson Dart is starting the last 3 games of the season.
I thought we stopped talking about the Patriots, but we can go back to them if anything. But no, I'll throw the same. I'll throw the same question to you, Peter, then, because I think it's a relevant one, right? Do you bench Jackson Dart the rest of the year, or would you leave him in there? Do you think Luke is right?
I think you should bench him. like he's already had a solid amount of games. You kind of already know what you're going to get out of him, and he plays recklessly. Now sometimes that's good, but we've seen him take a lot of unnecessary stupid hits because he refuses to slide. So if like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, get him reps, and that's great, that he's getting reps. But if he gets hurt, then you look very foolish. And considering that this is not, this is an interim coach who's just kind of there to, until they get their actual guy, I feel like they're probably going to bench him anyway.
Like, do you think at some point, especially because an interim coach who the assumption is not going to return as the head coach, right? Do you think that some point ownership comes down and just pins him against the wall and shakes him and says, you need to stop letting Jackson Dart be Jackson Dart? Like, getting to the point where, like, when he's, Jackson Dart, if he's that kind of a danger to himself, do you start telling him, all right, we're going to let him play, but you need to bench him? If he gets hurt, you need to tell him to stop being so reckless? Or it's got to be a confusing situation. Right?
I think regardless of where the Giants are in the season, if I'm the GM, if I'm the owner, I'm telling whomever is coaching Jackson Dart on how to be a quarterback to start sliding, start going out of bounds, stop trying to get the extra yard and protect yourself, right? Like, Jackson Dart is an investment for the New York Giants, right? You moved up into the first round to get him. You've moved on from Russell Wilson really quick in order for him to start, right? Someone needs to turn around and say, you need to protect yourself because we believe that you're the future for the New York Giants, and you are not going to be the future of the New York Giants if you're going to be in concussion protocol every week, right? Like, you look at what's going on with Tua, right? And we can talk about whether Tua is a talented quarterback or not. He has shown flashes previously, but I believe that the injuries and his inability to protect himself has hindered his ability to be a consistent quarterback in the NFL, right? We talked about this with Lamar Jackson early on, right? Lamar Jackson did not like to slide. He liked to take hits. He was taking too many injuries, and he's changed the way he's played, and that's what has brought him to the elite level that he's at. I mean, I know he's not playing at the elite level this season because he's been hurt, but in previous season he has played as an MVP quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. So if Jackson Dart wants to get to that level, which I fully believe he can, someone needs to be telling him, you need to stop fighting for those extra yards, play another down.
Yeah, I don't think Mara is the type to really interfere like that. I mean, when the Giants were on Hard Knocks, they were trying to re-sign. How did I just forget his name? Running back. Please help me.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley. He literally was like, I'm going to lose sleep over it if we don't re-sign Saquon Barkley. And then the team ended up not doing it. So I don't think he, is going to let his personal feelings of, how he basically make the interim coach do anything.
I don't know. I've read reports that he hasn't slept in 2 years. Like, he's had difficulty sleeping for the last 2 years, and he's sick to his stomach whenever they play the Philadelphia Eagles.
But, as far as teaching the quarterback how to slide, it's not like always an easy thing. I remember when the Jets drafted Mark Sanchez, they literally brought in Joe Girardi when he was at the Yankees to teach him how to slide to try to defend himself, which did not work, so much so that he needed to grab a knife to defend himself. So, it's not necessarily such an easy
I think that might have been the best singular one-liner you've ever given us on this show. I'm very biased, but the callback and the deep cut to the Joe Girardi to the Jets to teach Mark Sanchez how to slide and to transition that into Mark Sanchez knife haver, I think that's got to be top one of the things you've ever given.
Super deep cut.
I like that. And speaking of things that are on top of the world in a good way now.
Was it a deep cut, Luke?
We can talk about the Knicks now. We can talk about the New York Knicks.
New York.
NBA Cup champions. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this because the Knicks said they're not hanging a banner, and
Yeah.
I've been very down on the NBA Cup's existence, right, to begin with. Now, granted, I'm happy. I mean, look, I've got my MF Doom New York Knicks shirt right now, so like I feel pretty good about that. Shout out to Rich. I know he's not watching right now, but if you would, he'd be very happy because of the MF Doom Knicks crossover. No, but the Knicks played some damn good basketball to get through the NBA Cup, and a couple things are of relevance here. And 5-1 on the way there. The Spurs were outstanding. The Spurs took care of the Thunder in a
Yeah.
semifinal game that was nothing short of incredibly competitive, right? And at the same time, the Knicks were the first time that looked like they could give the West some trouble. I mean, look, the Thunder are the reigning champions. They're very good. The Spurs beat them, and the Knicks beat the Spurs. So there's got to be a little bit of hope in Madison Square Garden that the Knicks could actually make a big run this year. They played this game also down for a bit. They had a deficit, turned around, and just came back and held it down. I mean, this is just at the end of the day.
Yes.
See what Hart did to Brunson.
It was hilarious.
They this is a team that clearly likes playing with each other. They enjoy their brand of basketball. They're making it work. I I guess it's just scary for me to have a touch of hope because I've watched the Knicks for a long time and I know better. But I mean, there's 3 cups. The Knicks have won one of the early NBA cups. I'm happy to them. I'm happy for the 15th guys on the bench getting an extra $500,000. That should be some good motivation to play hard the rest of the year. You know, don't gamble that away, folks, please. Like, that's really good for you. So it was fun. It feels nice. One thing I will say, to let the New Yorker in me come out for a second, is that there were a lot of people talking shit about the Knicks winning. But if they had lost, those were the same people that would have been talking shit. And you can't talk out of 2 sides of your mouth in New York. You got to pick one. Either hate on the Knicks and accept the fact that they won, or sit there and shut up. You know, like, it is what it is. I'm fine with you hating the Knicks because they're from New York. It's fine. They got to have their fun and they won the NBA Cup. If the NBA Cup is legitimate, the Knicks made it legitimate. They won. Great job, right? If it's not legitimate, then they still beat the team that beat the Thunder to get there. And I respect that because it was a good, well-contested game, and they showed that they can hang with some playoff environments. They beat everyone on the way here, and I like that. It was a good, exciting brand of basketball. They've got some things rolling. They've picked up a lot faster than I thought they would, considering the fact that they're running a new offensive system. They did it without a defined hero. I think that was the big thing. This was a real team effort. This wasn't Jalen Brunson drops 50 and carries the Knicks. Right, this was a team that banded together with the real good performances from OG, from Cat, who was playing injured but wanted to win, Brunson, Bridge. It turned out to be a fun performance.
Kolek.
So, you know, respect. Yeah, Kolek, who's having fun out there. I like seeing Kolek shoot threes, but this was a fun little run for the Knicks. Am I excited about the NBA Cup and its existence? No, I'm still not. I'm sorry, folks, but it's good for the Knicks to have something to be happy about for once.
Yeah. You know, Luke, you make your point first. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, making being hard on the Knicks and being critical of the Knicks is probably one of the lamest takes you can do in sports. It's like making fun of the dyslexic kid during the spelling bee, and just shitting on them. Like, the Knicks have been so bad for so long, right? Like, I was reading the article today in ESPN. Like, 1999 was the last time that the Knicks went to the NBA Finals, right? Like it's just such a poor take to make fun of the New York Knicks or to just shit on the New York Knicks. Like, give them their moment. Like there have been so many years, and I've watched New York Knicks fans just totally fall apart, right? Because the team has been so bad, just so poorly run year after year. I mean, you look at the years of Phil Jackson just terrorizing the team, like just ripping the team apart for no reason other than sabotage, right? It's such a poor take to make fun of the Knicks, to not give the Knicks the flowers that they deserve here. Enjoy it, Ram. Like, this is a cool moment, but I have to ask, What are your thoughts on them not putting the banner up? Because to me, it's like, I respect it, right? Like we had like as the New York Knicks, and I'm talking from the New York Knicks perspective, right? We're on a mission. Our mission was not to win the NBA Cup. Our mission is to make it to the NBA Finals. This is a team that it's NBA Finals or bust, right? We won the NBA Cup. Great. We're going to celebrate, but we're going to Indiana. We're going to Indiana tomorrow night. We're going to start playing games again, and we're getting ready to push ourselves to get to the NBA Finals. Are you getting that same feeling?
Yes, and I'm pretty proud of it because at the end of the day, I mean, look, if the Knicks hung the banner, people would have made fun of it anyway. But if you want this team to be respected as a professional organization, and to tie in what you were saying before, right? The Knicks have not only been so bad for so long, they have also been run really badly for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm going back before the Leon Rose and Brunson and all this stuff. So I'm going back maybe about like 8 years, 6 years maybe, and spanning that back to like the entirety of my lifespan. Right, the Knicks have all through the early 2000s and the 2010s, the Knicks were really, really badly run. Made a lot of questionable decisions over the years. Not only questionable decisions that cost them in the short term, but cost them in the long term. So if you're trying to rebuild the Knicks as a prestigious organization, and you know where the East is this year, you know what your team is capable of, you know that you just came off of what would have been the ECF, last year. So at the end of the day, you have to sit there and say, all right, we need to actually focus on what matters, and it's the NBA title. It's not the NBA Cup. And that's why I'm being playful about this NBA Cup thing. I mean, is it cool? Am I glad they had fun? Am I glad the guys on the back of the bench are getting some extra money? Absolutely. Right? And at the end of the day, of course I'd rather the Knicks win than not. I'm really happy that they won. I'm happy that they played good basketball. But really, it should just be looked at as a preview for the playoffs. And the idea of, can we perform under the lights? Can we perform under big situations and pressure and play good basketball? And that's the takeaway from that. What the hell are you going to do hanging the banner? I know some people are like, oh, the previous winners who have won titles, I think it was like the Lakers and the Bucks, they've hung banners up. I mean, I don't really care. This is a fabricated tournament that was made up because the Saudis wanted to put their money somewhere and be able to do their thing, right? They got to do their thing. There's no need that they need the banner out of it. I think it's a good move. Focus on what's important right now. The Knicks have a chance to win a chip. If you win the chip at the end of the year by some miracle, by hook or crook, if the Knicks are able to win a chip, then we're not even having this banner conversation. We're hanging up the banner for the Knicks winning the title, and everyone's losing their minds. So I think really what it is you're supposed to say, all right, great job, guys. That's not the banner we're hanging up. We're hanging up the banner when you win the title. So win the goddamn title. And good performance on them. It's not taken away from it. It's not cheapening it. They're not getting the money. They're getting the money. They're getting the accolades. They're getting the fun in their pictures. They probably got to go celebrate, right? Go win the chip. That's what matters right now. And so I respect the fact they're not putting up a banner. And I feel like they're not going to be the only team that does that going forward.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not as heavily invested as the Knicks as I was when I was younger. But, there was a time where I was obsessed with the Knicks. And that, unfortunately, was a time when we had people like Eddie Curry on the Knicks. And our best two players were Nate Robinson and David Lee. All due respect to David Lee, Mr. Double-Double. But, it's, again, as a Knicks fan, going back to, when I started watching basketball, for me, the only real trophy that I could say that the Knicks won was Nate Robinson's dunk contest. So, like, the fact there's an actual cup, granted, I understand that it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's cool. Like, you saw all those tweets from Knicks fans before posting their draft if the Knicks lose, like, oh, the NBA Cup's not real anyway, who cares? And if they win, we won, they're champions. So it's it's a bit of a meme thing even still with the win. But what I like about it is just the everything that you've seen with the team. Brunson in this post-game interview, he hyped up Kolek, he hyped up Mitchell Robinson, OG. He didn't take anything for himself. He gave it to the accolades to the guys that don't always get shine. It came out that him and some of the other higher paid players are going to give their bonuses to staff members on the team who weren't getting paid extra for these extra games they have to work because of the NBA Cup. And we even see like the fun and silly stuff going on in the media where Brunson said that if he was elected New York City mayor, he would make sure that the guys who stole Josh Hart's watch went scot free. Josh Hart constantly tells everyone that Jalen Brunson has a big head. Like, this is like, I know it's all silly and fun, but this is like, when you're with these guys playing all these games, like you kind of have to like each other a little bit, and certainly makes your job easier. So like, this is the type of things that we haven't really seen before with the Knicks. It's always been dysfunction. It's always been somebody making a terrible decision. Like, the more this season goes on, and the more that I'm hearing all these stories from the Knicks clubhouse, the less I want to trade for Giannis. And I know that's crazy. Like, one of the best players in the NBA, I don't want to trade for him. But like, the way I look at it is back with the Carmelo days. Like, when we traded for Carmelo, like, it was great, and obviously, like, it was a huge turning point in Knicks history. But they pretty much ruined all their chances of winning a chip by trading away all the players that would have helped if you just would have waited to sign him in free agency. So I'm very worried that that's just going to be Carmelo part 2. And, like, we already have our a long lost Nova brother, DiVincenzo, out in the wild wilderness of Minnesota. So, like, let's not do that again.
The one thing I will say about the banner, though, Luke, is that, to my understanding, and this might be a little bit flawed, but I was under the impression that the Lakers, when they won, did not want to hang a banner, and that they were kind of coerced by the Saudis and Adam Silver to hang the banner amongst their multiple championship banners. So, although the Knicks do not desire to hang a banner, it is possible that the powers that be may turn around and say, you have to hang a banner.
Yeah. I mean, who cares? Yeah. Like, go to the Garden. Look at all they have banners for Billy Joel. Like, put it next to the Billy Joel banner. Like, who cares? Like, you don't even have to have a presentation about it. Just throw it up there.
You guys are still in New York, and I'm not.
I'm still in New York. I just want to be clear about that.
Okay, you guys are both in the New York, New Jersey area. How about that? Is that okay for you, Ram?
Logistically, I'll let it pass.
Okay. I remember living in New York, and I don't know if this still exists, but are there still a whole bunch of billboards about Billy Joel's like last show at MSG? Because I feel like, okay, has that ended? Have we finally?
It's been a long time since you've been in New York, Luke. You're kind of aging yourself here. You must have left the New York/New Jersey area a long time ago. Wow.
I don't know. I feel like every radio commercial I ever heard when I still lived in the New York, New Jersey area, it was just, come watch Billy Joel for his last show at MSG. And it was like, dude, I heard this a month ago. Like, you told me a month ago it was his last show, and here we are again. Like, I don't know.
Every show's the last show, man.
Everyone, you show up, you're like, this could be the last one. Like, who knows? Like, you show up, like, it's like you show up to a Mets game, and this could be Pete Alonso's record-breaking home run. Like, you don't know. Like, that's just it. Sorry,
I think they've gotten to the point where they're honoring Billy Joel, because I remember like Carnegie Hall is doing like a Billy Joel like tribute show, and I think that cracks me up because I do remember the era of like, oh hey, like it's Billy Joel's last show, and now it's like, hey, it's the Billy Joel tribute show. This might be his last tribute show. Like, you really want to get out there, and I mean. We play Piano Man at every Mets home game, so honestly, he's never got a last show because as long as Citi Field is open, the Mets are still gonna fucking play Piano Man. So that's still gonna be there, and that'll be an opportunity every single time we get to the 8th inning.
Yeah, well, I'm not taking away from Billy Joel. I mean, he is a phenomenal artist. It's the marketing of it that just really just gets under my skin.
Well, Ram, you say that, but listen, it kind of looks like Mr. Brightside's slowly taking over some of that shine.
It's taken over the karaoke, but like we still do Piano Man, no?
He's calling Mr. Brightside's winning karaoke a lot of the time.
Mr. Brightside is unapologetically the karaoke song of white people everywhere, and I respect that.
It is 100%. It is 100% the white people anthem.
Yeah,
you play it in
If you asked me what a white people anthem would be, as someone who both loves karaoke and loves sports, Luke is right. We'll go to any state.
You played at any wedding, people go
Right.
nuts.
I do think like the
Absolutely nuts.
unapologetic,
It's the white
unequivocally,
national anthem, absolutely.
yeah, the white national is Mr. Brightside, right? So for me, I think that has a special place in my heart for like I understand Mr. Brightside's going to be in Citi Field a lot, but it's kind of like lived beyond its own means. It's up there in the rafters. Like you could say hypothetically, Mr. Brightside has a banner in every sports arena across the United States. Right, I think so. It has a banner. So Mr. Brightside's there, but Piano Man's been there. It's a classic, So we will see what comes of Piano Man at Citi Field. I hope it continues to live on, whether in infamy or not. I like that it's there.
Listen. 2015 World Series, Billy Joel being at Citi Field, and Fox not cutting the commercial while they're playing it and just showing all the fans singing it, him too. It was a cool moment.
It's nice.
Hopefully
I
we
like
have another
these
moment
moments.
like that again. Yeah.
Can we get the Killers to do Mr. Brightside if the Mets make the World Series this year?
No, we don't need the Killers. You just need the guy outside of Citi Field that yells at you for not tipping him.
He plays the
drum
drums
kit.
really well, though.
He does.
He's pretty good.
He was pretty good. It was a good time.
Now that we've wrapped up most of our New York stuff, and since this is our last show of the year, instead of final takes, we can take a moment and talk about some Christmas spirit and have a little fun here. Peter's already in the Christmas spirit. He's got the balloon. He was getting gifts from Santa leading up, leaving to the fact that this is where we are to finish off the year, because more than likely with next week being Christmas Eve, we're not going to be doing any kind of broadcast, and the week after that, I think, is New Year's Eve, right? So the expectation of us doing anything until the New Year is probably low, if we're being honest, and that's okay. So is there anything that you want to, we're up to a couple people listening to us tonight. We're grateful for anyone who took the time to tune in or is watching this on replay. Anything that you want to share, other than the nature of the Christmas spirit, things that you're grateful for, a gift that you're hoping for from your sports teams, I leave it to you. Peter, is there anything that you want to talk about?
Well, we kind of already did the for the Thanksgiving episode, the what you're most thankful for. So I guess I shouldn't go down that road. But so fun little fact. Once I found out that, and I got over the initial anger and then sadness. It was a whole thing of Pete not being a Met next year. I decided to look at the schedule for when if the Orioles come to Citi Field this year, and they do. It's in September, and I already took off, so I can go to go say goodbye to Pete on that it's gonna be very sad Monday. And I'm gonna be honest with you. If Pete hits a home run, I'm gonna cheer like he still plays for the Mets. Like Ram, we were talking a couple days ago when I saw it. Pete's wife, I apparently.
Ed. Thank you, Ed.
Ed, you are the most handsome guy in the Discord. I just want you to know that.
I don't know how this is getting sad. We're talking about Christmas cheer, but when Pete's wife wrote the goodbye message to Mets fans, and she ended it with thank you for loving Pete. I don't know. It's just I'm excited to see him again, and I don't know. That's gonna be a cool Christmas present to myself when they release the tickets, I guess.
I remember when this is years ago, and I think I'm a little bit older than both of you, but when Mike Piazza first came back after being with the Mets, he came back with the Padres. I think it's objectively one of my I think the funniest games for me to watch the highlights from, because so Piazza comes back and he gets a beautiful standing ovation, and he proceeds to hit a home run. And people do cheer for him because it's warm and it's like, it's Mike, right? Comes up the next time and gets a relatively warm ovation again, and then hits another home run. And the crowd is not cheering for him the same way that they did before. So when he comes up for another at bat, he gets some booze kind of mixed into it. And it's all very New York and jesting, but I love that game because it's like, he comes up, standing ovation, hits the home run, they give him the full cheer. Does it again, and they're like, all right, buddy, calm the fuck down.
Honestly,
I love that game because it's so funny.
I feel like it's slightly different than the Pete situation because Piazza was very old at that point, and he could not play catcher. And this was pre-DH. So there wasn't too much you could really do with Piazza. But like knowing that the Mets didn't even offer Pete a contract, I feel like if he has a multi-home run game, I'm not a betting man anymore. But if I had to, you would absolutely get a F David Stearns or F Cohen chant.
I do think the sentiment is the same though, like to the point where like he'll get a warm reception
Oh,
when he comes.
100%. He'll get a say if he
he'll
hits a home
probably
run,
hit a home run.
he'll
And he'll
probably
get
get
cheered, but
he'll
if he
probably
hits
get-
the second one, I swear to God, people are gonna sit there and be like, "All right, buddy." Like
No,
it's,
but
it's
I don't think they're going to take their anger out on Pete. I think they're going to take their anger out on Stearns.
I don't think it's an anger thing. I think sometimes in sports you just got to tip your cap. You know, like there's certain things where you just get to laugh and be relaxed about. I mean, we have Christmas football this year, right? I mean, the game might be ass. The Chiefs are out of the playoffs, right? So we're
Yeah.
going to be seeing the Chiefs on Christmas without Patrick Mahomes, and to some of the country they consider that a gift. I don't, but I do think that's funny. But I don't know. I mean, the holiday time is nice. It's family time. I didn't get to join the Thanksgiving episode, so I just want to take a moment to also express to you guys and to Ash and to Chris and our regular listener Ed from wherever he comes from. You know, I generally just really enjoy doing this with you guys. It's something that I look forward to doing week by week. I mean, even if we were getting negative viewership somehow every single week, I would still look forward to jumping on here and talk to you guys and just bullshitting because it's a lot of fun. You guys tolerate my humor, and it is for me. I just noticed a Christmas tree in the back of your background, by the way, Luke. I didn't notice it before. Very festive. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Ash left it down here before he left for Montana, so I'm appreciative. I'm appreciative of that. Merry Christmas, Ash.
I was actually going to ask you guys, like, if you've been sneaking up and around the house, considering that they're not there. Like, did they let you take care of the dogs? Did they let you out of the basement, or are you?
No, they
still
took the
kind of-
dogs with them.
So you're
They
still
don't- they don't
relegated
trust
to the
us.
basement in an empty house?
No, they don't trust us with a dog. You think they're going to trust us outside the basement? Like that door is still locked while
Right,
they're
but
gone.
haven't you had thoughts of like?
Luke, I picked the lock. What are you talking about? I found their Cheez-It supply. We're good, man.
Oh man, that's wrong. That's no.
Are you
We're
telling me
supposed to be down here, Peter.
Luke has Stockholm syndrome?
Luke has stock. All right, well, if you want to move past Luke's Stockholm syndrome, I also want to give you the same platform. Of course, Luke, is there anything, whether in the Christmas spirit or not, that you'd like to share while we're on the air?
There is one gift. There is one gift that I would love for Christmas, and that is a New York Rangers fucking win at Madison Square Garden. This team is historically bad at home. Like historically bad. 4 wins in 17 games. They've scored 30 goals. They've been shut out, and I might be wrong in the count here, either 5 or 6 times in their 17 games. It's it's getting to the point that it's embarrassing. You play at the world's greatest arena, and this is the performances that you all are putting up. It's absolutely embarrassing, and it's difficult to watch. It is extremely difficult to watch at this point. Not because of the broadcast booth. I mean, a little bit because of the broadcast booth, but mostly because how badly the Rangers are playing. And I would just love a very nice win from the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden.
I agree. They need to stop desecrating the Billy Joel banner up in the rafters, and like, how dare they play like that in front of that banner?
I feel like we can never get too much at once because the Knicks have lost like 1 game at home this season. And it's really funny because like we can't have them both be good like at the same time. Maybe they'll both make the playoffs, but we can't have them be good at home at the same time because it's not necessarily looking good.
The Rangers are not making the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs.
We're not getting the Win the Garden, we're eating stuff again. Jesus. But no, I mean, look, this is where we are. We're having a lot of fun. I want to express thank you. There's some people out there listening. Thank you for just being around. We have fun with you all, the comments and all that. We'll be back in a couple weeks, most likely with a lot of content, at least on the baseball side for sure. But I have the feeling there's going to be a lot to talk about in a couple weeks, and we'll be back ready, raring to go. In the meantime, you can always find us by going to YouTube, on our Twitter, The Best Damn Sports. Oh, thank you, Tanya. I appreciate you so much. With love. We did an amazing job this year. Looking forward to the best day of the sports show. Happy holidays and wonderful new year. You too, my dear. Thank you so much for reaching out. This is it for now, folks. I mean, we've got a little bit of a holiday break, and that's it. I mean, maybe we'll have fun stuff to talk about. I mean, we're going to look stupid in 2 weeks, and the Mets and Yankees are going to sign nobody, and it's going to be just doom and gloom. So let's stay on the positive side. Happy holidays to you too, Ed. We appreciate you, all you do for Peter as well, and the fact that you granted him September 28th. We appreciate that as a whole.
14.
It's fine. And on behalf of Ash too, who is not here, he is trapped in Montana, but we know that he's always got good things to say. We're very happy to have him along as a friend and as a part of the podcast. We're gonna wrap this up for now, and for seeing you in a couple weeks. Please stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy your holiday season. We will be back. You can't get rid of us, trust me. And we'll see.
They've tried.
Then. They've tried, and it won't happen. So on behalf of myself, Luke, Peter, Ash, and everyone else who's joined the podcast this year and all the commenters out there, thank you. Take care. All the best. And we will see you soon. Find some time for yourselves and enjoy these days. Take care.